You gotta own it, baby. So you can own yours. Well, hello, everybody. How are you? Happy St. Patty's Day. Yay! Are you ready for your close-up? You know, a lot of us are going on Zoom now. We're doing our Facebook Lives. We're on LinkedIn Live. We're doing our Insta. We're doing our Reels. We are showing up in a big way. But are you showing up with the wrong makeup on? Well, today we're going to cover it. We are going to talk about how we look, because when you show up on camera, you know, if you don't like the way you look, it can really affect your confidence. I know that firsthand because I've been on television and on and off and on video for 3 decades. Holy moly. And I know for sure that if you're not feeling good about the way that you look, it can really, really knock your confidence. You know, you want to look good when you show up. So today we're going to be talking about makeup, and I'm so glad that you joined me today on Center Square. This is the place for you to show up and learn how to own your square. We talk about all things confidence, connection, content. We talk about marketing and media. And we talk about sound bites, and we talk about how we could be more dynamic, right? Many different things. So I cover all of these topics every single week right here, Wednesdays at noon Eastern time, right here on this station, because it is my pleasure to teach you how to show up and shine on video. And you know, I'm writing the book, Own Your Square. I've got about, I think, 6 more weeks to go until the big launch date, which is very exciting. So I'm doing a lot of research. I'm brushing up. I'm reminding myself of all things important, right? There's so much knowledge up here. When you're writing a book, it's like, oh my gosh, how do you spit it out? And I'm supposed to be writing a lot every single day. But you know what? All of a sudden, it's gotten really busy in my life, which I'm psyched about, because now I'm going to be on another TV show, Seasons at Home. And yesterday I did my first video shoot on location. And that story's coming up in April. And oh my gosh, it feels so good to be back in it again. But whether or not you're in the field or you're showing up on Zoom, right? You got to look good. You got to feel good. So we've got makeup tips for you. Today I have beauty expert Kristina Foreman, who's going to be joining us. And she's going to be telling us, hey, Kristina, how are you?
Pat. Very well. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to have you here. And, you know, Kristina, you have worked, you're a professional makeup artist, and you have worked with tons of people, you know, print media, you've done videos, you've been on the set for, you know, a couple decades like myself.
That's right.
And so we are like really excited to learn how we can show up without the shine. Okay, that's probably the first time I'm ever going to say that.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for joining me. All right, so we're going to go through, like, you know, piece by piece of this beautiful face that we all have, right?
Oh, yeah. It's
oh my gosh.
You know, it's a lot of pressure being on camera, and it's really, really great to know just a few tips how to show up and look your best. You know, there's a lot of information out there, so it's nice to just clarify things and break some down for you.
Yeah. And, you know, I think like people have the perception that when you go on camera, you have to be made up like a movie star. But I guess as you age, maybe less is more. I don't know. We're going to find out.
Yeah. You know, it really depends on your age and what type of, I would say personality or image that you want to portray on camera, you know. And
all right. So let's talk about like step 1. What is the first step, you know, before you start to put the makeup on? Like, what should people do? Let's go through it. Let's help people out here. And of course, your questions are welcome. So I just want to mention to people that you can accept restream, and then we can show your name. I know Carla's here. Thanks, Carla, for joining us.
Hey, Carla.
And Carla is a natural beauty. She is awesome. So Carla, let us know what what questions you might have for Kristina, but let's go through it. So what's step 1 in, first of all, where should we do our makeup? Should we do it in front of a window or actually in like big, you know, lots of lighting?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Pat, because I think this is where it really starts. Well, I'll go through the process the way that I would when I'm hired as part of a crew to, help somebody present themselves in a commercial or on video.
Okay.
Number one, I always make sure, do they have a clean face? It's really remarkable. A lot of times we don't even remove a lot of the old mascara, the old eyeliner off of our face from the next day. So I really find that just taking the model or the personality and going through and just having them rewash their face, clean up really well underneath their eyes. And you'd be surprised how much old mascara or even dirt is on your face that transfers onto the image or whatever makeup you're putting on, you're just applying over, and it kind of dulls it. It really doesn't come out as crisp and clean as it could if you started with a super fresh, clean face.
All right, so let's talk about it. So, does soap and water do the trick, or do you need to use like astringent, and do you need to, what
Yeah.
do you have?
Yeah, excellent question. Well, I really find that if somebody uses soap and water, it doesn't always dissolve certain, like a mascara. Soap and water will not dissolve mascara. It really needs like an oil or a cream to break those products down, an eyeliner. So if you have a good eye makeup remover, just make sure you go really well, clean underneath your eyes and around your eyes really well, especially down here. And, make sure it's all
That's a
removed
hard
off.
spot. I have to say, getting my mascara off is one of the hardest things.
I know. I mean, I have my favorite products, my go-tos, and I find that some products work great, some products don't. But when you're working with like a waterproof mascara, those things can be a hard knot to get off. I find that the best products for long wearing, because most products now are mostly sold for long wearing because everyone wants it to last all day, is to buy a product that is an oil base, a natural oil base, of course. And I always go for, I'm really of like a green makeup artist, so that kind of means I stick with my clean beauty products to make sure
Okay,
that
so you don't mean green. All of a sudden, my mind went to green. I'm like, she's a green beauty artist. What is she talking
well,
about?
in fact, that word that
Organic, yeah, green, right,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And I think, do those products really make a difference using organic products?
I find they do. I mean, we're constantly attacked by toxins and parabens and there's so much in the elements. Why add insult to injury when we're having control over it? So I personally find that if you can control what toxins and certain things you're putting on your face and you're eating, well, why not if we have control over it? So, I mean,
Absolutely.
so that's why I always tend to, like in my shop here and in my makeup kit, it's either Beauty Counter or my organic line or my non-toxic beauty line. I kind of stick with those, and I find that their products work amazing. So
Yeah, I mean, think about all the chemicals you could potentially put on your face. Ugh,
yes, yes, especially
yeah.
in the beauty industry. The beauty industry is very well known for a lot of perfumes and parabens and things that we really don't need.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about, okay, so we have to start with a clean face.
Always a clean
One of the things that I notice a lot on video is that people have a lot of shine to them. And that's like one of the things you want to avoid when you go on camera, right?
Absolutely. So that's why, getting back to the clean face, if you're a gentleman and you're wanting to be on Zoom or video, this pertains to men's grooming. I've been doing men's grooming just as long as, everything else. So I find that have a well-washed face, and a lot of men tend to be shiny because they really don't think about, showing up fresh on Zoom or video. It's not in their programming to want to put on a little translucent powder. But I always start the same. I will wash the face down, and then I'll add a product. And I just happen to have a couple that I wanted to show you very quickly that I have in my kit that I offer here in my shop. Is number one is this is a primer, and this is a age-defined mattifying primer. So mattifying means it just absorbs some oil, it smooths you out, it makes you not appear shiny. It's
so where do you put that, all over your face?
Yeah, so I use this as an anti-aging moisturizer and a primer for underneath my foundation because it helps my foundation look more matte, more smooth, less oily. And it's nice to appear dewy, as they say. But I find with video, that can translate greasy sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to throw on something that would kind of soften you out.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so we have the clean face, and then we have the oil control.
Yep. Oil control creams and mattifying primers work amazing. If you're a guy, you don't want to really put any foundation on, you're self-conscious about that. But I actually recommend that men do wear a translucent powder. In my men's grooming routine for my clients, I always use the primer. I rinse their face, use the primer, and then I use a translucent, very light tinted tanner. It isn't dark at all, so you don't create an orange look, but you do look, a little bit more, have a touch more color, but it's a shine control. So, under the lights, or maybe if you're using natural daylight, you might feel a little warm. It's not going to translate greasy, which is great.
Yeah, like right now, I just have to mention that I'm in front of a window, and so I have no light on my face. It's just natural light. And, that can get tricky because when the sun comes out, I'm what we call blown out, right?
Yeah.
Blown out is when you're too bright, and that could happen.
Yeah.
So I feel like I get kind of washed out, even though as I look at my face in the mirror over here, I've got a lot of makeup on. Because one of the things that happens when you go on all these apps, and I will tell you, you will look different on Zoom than you will look on like a Facebook Live or an Instagram TV and a Restream or a StreamYard or, a Be Live. And it's because all of these apps have, different filters that they start with, right?
Yes.
So right now we're broadcasting on Restream. But if I was to go on Zoom, my lighting would be different, and I might have to turn on a light because it might be darker, or the tone might be off. So, what I recommend to people is before whatever you're going to go on live, test it out in the environment that you're in beforehand.
Absolutely.
Don't wait for it's 12 noon, hit that link. And
that's
don't be surprised because, we can have control over a lot of things when it comes to the way we look, but then, oh my gosh, throw that all out the window when you go on live and the lighting changes or the apps change and you have no control.
It's nice to be prepared, and because it's too hard to regroup and you want to look professional. If we're speaking to the professionals here wanting to do, any product blog or anything, you don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing.
The other thing that drives me crazy, I think, you never want to notice. You don't want to notice someone for their makeup, right? That's like a little distracting.
Yeah, I tend to have a rule. When it comes to wanting to represent yourself or helping someone to represent themselves, I always say go classic. Classic is my general rule. It's not that, so if I have a client that's super natural and they don't want to give the impression that they wear a lot of makeup, you can still give a very naturally enhanced impression on Zoom, but still look good, and apply a little powder, a little concealer, a little mascara and blush, and look like you're completely natural, but you just look better.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't feel
comfortable with that.
And the thing is, the bottom line is wear makeup. And I know some people don't feel comfortable with makeup because in their everyday lives, they don't, and we're talking about women and men.
Yeah.
In their everyday lives, they might not, some of my clients that I coach are like, well, I'm not really a makeup person. I'm like, I'm sorry, but for camera, you got to put makeup on.
It really is. It makes that much of a difference. And we're not talking about you have to go out and buy $200 worth of makeup and you got to scrape it on with a palette. I think that's what people have in their heads, that they instantly get intimidated and overwhelmed thinking that they have to put on the spackle. And this year, I mean, we're kind of modernized, and technology and formulas and ingredients have changed so much. So I am very well known to give a clean, classic, natural look, but you're still wearing products. You're just not wearing certain products that maybe someone else would use or have used for years traditionally in TV. So my I tend to use talc-free products, bismuth-free, mica-free, mineral oil-free. So they're very clean, they're vegan, they're gluten-free. So when they go on, they actually look extremely natural. They look like your skin and they feel like your skin because those ingredients make you look cakey and chalky, and the traditional way, if you wear too much, it'll be overkill.
Yeah, and you know what just a vision popped up in my head. I remember, like, I think when I was in my 30s, I might have looked older than I am now because the makeup that I was using was like cakey. And I remember I
Yeah.
used to put concealer on and it was like all of a sudden it would create lines instead of getting rid of them, and it was just like
Yes.
all the wrong things. All right, so let's talk about the face now.
Sure.
Because I want to give people, we're going to go through the entire face in 15 minutes. All right. So so let's talk about it. So foundation do's and don'ts.
Okay.
What should people consider when using foundation?
Well, with foundations for camera, it's almost the same that I would do with someone walking around in person. Okay. Always try to match your skin tone as close as possible. Try not to go too pink. That is the traditional old style. People would buy foundations that tend to have a lot of pink in them because they think it adds color. And that really isn't true. It may add color, but it's going to add the wrong color. And people are going to see a big line and it's not going to look very good. So for foundation,
you know what? You just brought up something. Like, what happens with your neck? Like, should your face be the same color as your neck?
I think so. Absolutely. I mean, you got to realize with your face, if you want to get a little technical here, if you wear one color all over, one tone, you're going to look very flat.
Okay.
So you don't want to look flat. You want to look even, but you don't want to look flat. So here lies the challenge. So I think that what I do is I always make sure when my foundation on, it matches my skin tone. Now, it could be a slightly darker skin tone color of my natural color if I want. That's fine, as long as it's not orange or too pink. So it's more of like a value if we're talking like artsy shades. Okay, just slightly different, slightly darker if you want, or the exact color, all over, a nice thin coat over your primer. And then I put, for concealer, I always make sure, because eyes are where you want people to look, right?
For
You
sure.
don't want people staring all over the place. Yeah, it's all about the eyes. It's the visual contact. So one of the largest mistakes that I see people when they are presenting themselves on camera is that they'll have either a hot red lipstick or blue eyeshadow, or their lashes will be so out of control with shimmery gold eyeshadow that you can't stop staring at that point on their face. So you're no longer paying attention to what they're saying. You've kind of lost them in a way down the rabbit trail of analyzing your face. So,
and we're, obviously we're not talking about influencers here who, that's a totally different story. We're
every day I'm getting on Zoom, or I'm doing a teaching, or I'm promoting my product. Whatever you're doing is just go classic. So find the foundation that goes all over, that matches your skin tone. Use a bronzer in your T area here, and put a little bronzer underneath your chin. That always helps make your face a little more shapely and kind
of darn, I wish I knew that before this.
And then just like right in this area, just a nice warm blush, very soft, just to complement, so you're just not like tan and
how do you, the question I have is, how do you put blush on? I have my makeup kit right here. It's like that from here to then make the little apples.
Yep. You just don't want too much anything. You just don't want anything too stark on your face.
Too stark, yeah. So it's not like
so people aren't like, wow, check out her cheeks and her blush.
Check out her cheeks.
You want them to pay attention to what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. So I want to ask you a question. We talked about concealer. So the purpose of concealer is to what? Get rid of the dark circles, or?
Well, concealer has I love concealer. I think that if you were to only do a few things, concealer is number one, a must. Concealer, when you use a concealer, I always like to go slightly lighter than your foundation. And I'll go through here in this little V area, in the corner of my eyes, and then up and around, because you want to brighten and highlight that eye area, because to keep the contact, right? You want the visual contact. So you want your eyes to be a little highlighted. You don't want extremes, but just a shade lighter than your foundation around your eye area is definitely super important. And, just make sure it's smooth.
It makes a difference. It really does. Oh, there's a question here. Do you recommend doing your makeup in the lighting that you will be recording in?
Sure. Absolutely. I do a lot of that on set. I'll prep the person in the light. Also, my favorite is natural lighting. I highly recommend not to do your makeup in a bathroom where you have the traditional yellow light or a fluorescent light, because it tends to throw off the color. You can't, and then you come out, you're completely different than what you thought you were.
That's the shocking thing. Yes.
Yes. So natural light is always the best light to do anything, if to use a foundation, your eyeshadow, everything.
And then go into the environment that you're in after that.
That's right. And then and what I do is, hands down, you always have to do this. When you get on your light, like me, I have my video light going on. I got natural light over there. Now I did my makeup in natural light, but I checked it in my light here, and then I adjusted it. Yeah, I find that is super, super important, because you want to see yourself. I mean, there have been many times I did, a person for other commercial. I get them on set, and then I look through the camera, and the camera is translating something a little different. And that's when I just go in and go, wait a minute, I got to make some adjustments here. And I adjust, and it looks great. So.
Oh, excellent. Okay, good. One thing I want to point out is my shot just got darker because the sun went in, and you'll notice now it looks like I have more makeup on. So now, like, what can I do? So I'm actually going to put this little light on. I have lights all over the place, but hold on. Let's see what can happen when you put a light on. Whoa.
Yeah.
It just fills in the gaps.
It does.
To me, if you can have good lighting, oh my gosh, give me a light, give me nothing else. Because if you don't have lighting, then all of a sudden you start to see shadows and crevices, and and the thing is, you guys really need to have like one of these deals, right?
Yeah,
it's a selfie ring light.
That's
and
right.
They're not
you have a ring light.
And and the worst thing, right, Kristina, is like if you're sitting under a light and it's like a canned light, like a recessed light, then you get those like raccoon eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody, I mean, it's shadows there when you are working with multiple streams of light, or just one stream. Wherever you angle the light will create a shadow. So it depends how much control you want to have over your light. I mean, natural lighting is always the most flattering. So I always tell my clients, hey, if you're at home, if you're in front of a window and it's just blasting your whole face out, which can happen, just have a sheer over the window, and it's beautiful diffused light. And that is like a photographer's dream.
Amen.
It is like a soft beauty diffused light that
it's kind of like what they used to do with Barbara Walters.
That's right.
They put like the stocking over it.
Oh, gorgeous.
Diffused light is very complimentary. And I will say, just because I have it right here, I'm going to show you guys. So I have a, of course, being in the production field, I have a soft box over my light,
very nice.
Which is magical, and it's not selfish to use a light. And it's
Oh
not
no.
vain to use a light. You're so vain. Yeah, you know what? We all are vain. When we go on camera, we want to look darn good. So how do you look good? It's all about the light, baby. It's all about the light. All right. So I wanted to bring up one point because someone just had a comment about how do you deal with ring lights reflecting in glasses? And boy, do I have the answer for you. All right. Here's the deal. Well, first of all, I have non-reflective glasses. You see that? Isn't that beautiful?
Definitely.
But if I were to use I don't have my other glasses, my cheaters, I would look in it and it would be like reflecting city. So my ring light is actually off to the side, right? Sometimes if you put that ring light right directly in front of you and you have the glasses on, it'll be like, "Meow, meow." So you really have to play around with it. You've got to move the light around so it's still hitting your face evenly, but it literally, there's not one good answer for this because you have to kind of go like, does it work here? Does it work here? Does it work here? Does it
Yeah,
work here?
you have to play. I have found that when my ring light creates issues, I just raise it up and I tilt it down a little bit. And that helps because sometimes I have my glasses on. I'm doing a beauty tutorial and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to put my glasses on. Now you can see my light.
Yeah.
I'm holding my chin up. I have a very large softbox light, but as soon as I tilt my head down a little bit, it's gone.
Yeah.
So you have to just be conscious of where your light is and where it's at. But that's an excellent point because I find that when I'm watching somebody's video and they have a ring light and they have glasses on, it distracts me instantly from what they're saying.
Oh my
gosh. So
it's a disconnect. It's a disconnect. And it's unfortunate too, because, you know, I understand. Listen, I have trouble seeing too.
Yeah.
I really do. And that's why I bought these non-reflective lenses because for the most part, they're amazing.
Yeah.
But you know, if you can't obviously invest in those, then I would go for contacts or, you know, cheat sheety little stickies all over your computer, which I
yeah.
Did I tell you about my cheat sheety little stickies? So I've got a lot of things I want to cover in here. This is all really awesome. If you have questions, make sure you put them in the comments because we want to make sure that you're showing up and looking awesome on camera. All right. So concealer is good for you know, making things look good.
Yes.
If people basically, what mistakes do they make with concealer? Like putting too much on or something? Or what do you think?
You know, I personally find that if, you know, I'm working with someone and, you know, because I'm also a beauty coach, I help people, you know, learn all of this so they can show up and shine, as you would say. And when they come in, they go, oh, okay, how'd I do? And I'm like, well, tell me what you did. And they said, well, I put my concealer on, I put my foundation on. And I'm like, and they never put enough concealer on. They're so concerned about going overboard that they underdo it. And that is just a brain thing. We all do that. You know what I mean? We're all afraid if we're doing too much to look too extreme or obvious. So I always encourage you to say, it's okay. You could always build. So, and oh
my gosh, yeah. This reminds me of my days on camera where it was like, I look like a clown. But listen, when you're in a TV studio, oh my God, that's
it's
a totally
different.
Completely. I will just say right now, like if I'm home, you know, in front of, at this Zoom, doing the Zoom or doing, you know, this restream broadcast, it is a totally different situation than when you are in a studio. That is, I mean, we're not even going to cover that because, you know, you need a professional to do your makeup there.
Yeah.
But so, okay, one thing I want to talk about next is I want to talk about the eyes because the eyes are so important, right? We all need to know what the heck to do with our eyes. And I've been doing something wrong all along. Oh my gosh.
But your eyes look amazing today.
Well, thank you. So what has happened is I've gone through my videos. I have realized that I've gotten a little too carried away with my mascara. Because, and you know, when we were talking about the segment and everything, it's like, oh yeah, you don't want to have those caterpillar eyes. And I'm like, oh, darn, I have them. And what does that mean? That means that like spider, like basically like way too much everywhere.
Yeah. So let me see. This would be kind of a neat thing. Hang on. I'm going to grab something here.
I can't help it. I love my mascara because I feel like when I wear a lot of mascara, my eyes just look bigger. But guess what? After we talked the other day, I walked down the stairs and my son said, Mom, your eyes look so blue. What did you do? And guess what I did? I didn't wear as much mascara and I did that little trick that you told me about. the side of the eye. So tell us about that.
So, and I see this a lot on YouTube and, Instagram, is when people want to show up for the camera, they think, oh, I have to wear a lot of mascara, or I have to wear a lot of eyeshadow, or a lot of foundation. And it's this, I don't know where that came from, but I'm going to demonstrate. So I have found, now here's a little drawing that I did, right?
Oh, okay. Yep.
So here's what people tend
a little bit higher, a little bit higher. Good.
This is what people tend to do.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah, they tend to put mascara on every single lash. So, which is, that I think every single lash you shouldn't do. Because what you want, and I'll show in these, just because these pictures are so handy.
Oh,
see the difference?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
So there's a longer eyelash on the exterior part.
So the exterior part here, I like to divide the eye up. And this is where I find it to be, easy instruction here. If I was to do like a quick demo, I kind of like to divide the eye up in half, right? Whoop. Okay. So it's in half. So that imaginary line that goes right through your eye, the color of your eye. If you take the last quarter or the last half from here to here.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where you want to go up and out. So we want our eyes to look up and out, that fuller, larger, longer, and wider. And to give that effect is when you go in here and you're going to add your mascara.
Yep. You got to do it on the outsides a little bit more.
Am I hitting that right?
Higher, a little higher. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so bring it out.
Yeah, so you want everything to go up and out. And when things come up and out, your eyes will look wider. But as soon as you start drawing heavy mascara in here, in this inner half, what happens, it makes your eyes look closer together and it pulls them down. Especially as we age. Okay,
yeah.
If you're 15,
all right, so like the up and out with the eyes.
Cute. Everything's cute when you're 15.
Yeah.
But as we age, especially if we want to do a clean presentation and just have a nice natural look, it really gives a beautiful eye enhancement when you focus on the last half of your lashes. It doesn't mean you don't put anything. You just means you go lighter. And then you can go a little heavier down here. And you could even throw on, my favorite, is just throwing on a few of those small individual lashes that they sell, Walgreens or CVS. They're quite easy to do. You just plop a few on right in here, throw in a little mascara, and they actually look very natural. And you can't tell that they don't look overdone. So I'm not talking about the 3-inch
I have this
ones.
like amazing drugstore mascara, and this stuff. I mean, I could like go out to here with it if I wanted to, but that's awesome. All right, so someone asks, up and out on the bottom? No, on the top.
On the top. On the top. You want that's right. So on the bottom, you just want to add the last half here, just to put a nice, even, reasonable coat, but don't have it drag down in the center. Have it more come out this way, if that makes sense. Then you're kind of doing like just adding, I call support on your lower lid with a small amount of liner. So, and I always like to throw on a liner underneath and on top.
Oh,
I find that.
I mean, I do too. I feel naked when I don't have a liner underneath, and I really minimized my liner underneath today, and I kind of feel naked.
Well, I think your eyes look larger. I think they look fantastic.
Really? They look larger? I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. We all get used to seeing the way we look and liking the way that we look. I love the spider web eyes that I had. But now I realize, oh my God, Pat, that was like so over the top. You got to tone that down. So I'm going to try to tone that down, and then I'll get used to that look. So it's just a matter of being informed.
That's
all right. So Okay, so eyeliner on the top and on the bottom. Should you put the eyeliner inside like that? I don't even know what it's
It's called a
called.
waterline.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan. It really depends on the shape of your eye.
That was
So,
like 1980s as far as I'm concerned.
well, if you have eyes, everyone has a different shape eye, right? A lot of women have eyes that are super big, and some of them are kind of come down. They're shaped more oval, more down. That's when you would want to support your eye and give the illusion that it's a little bit more of an almond shape, and it's not coming down, but it's actually coming up. That's when it's really appropriate to go into that water line on the bottom. So,
Oh,
yes, but
okay.
for, the average shape eye, they tend to be a little more almond. So I would go right in between the lashes, right in through
Mhm.
here, and just put a little bit down, really depending on the look that you like. And that's why I always say it's important to work with somebody's personality, but to kind of balance it out a little bit. Some people like a little bit heavier, like a natural brown color, earthy tone, or a soft gray, especially if they have a lot of red in their skin.
Mhm.
Using a soft gray looks amazing, and it cools the face down and it makes the eyes look a
Oh.
little brighter.
I'm always amazed, like when I get my makeup done, whether it's for a professional shoot or even, at a department store where I'm, getting something tested on me, how people interpret how makeup should look on my face. Like I'm always blown away by that. Like, wow, you think that looks good? Like, I don't know about that. And it's because I think so we're sort of hesitant to change, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when we've been doing something the same way year after year. It's really so hard to make changes, and
Make it up.
it really is. Change is hard, especially we see ourselves a certain way. We're used to doing things a certain way for years, but we change. And that's the interesting thing. Like I have been I've been doing this for 30 years on set. And
Mm.
it's been great. And I've had my shop here in Milford for 15 years. So where I help
Congratulations.
thank
That's
you.
so
Thank you.
cool. How fun. So
And
what do you do in the studio, by the way?
um,
What do you do there?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
So what do you do in the studio there
Oh,
in Milford?
all right. Well, I opened this place up to be a private space where, I can create foundations for each individual.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have an artist background. I've been painting, since a young child. And when I discovered that I can create a foundation in any color, consistency, and formula with all natural ingredients, I went for it. Because I just
Oh.
learned as a makeup artist that you cannot have one color that matches everybody. And I'm really particular about color and texture and how people feel and appear, because that how we look makes such an incredible impression on us, emotionally.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Christine Erfer says, thank you so much, Christina, for all of your useful tips, like always. So she's very grateful that you are dishing it out today, which is so awesome. So
Very
I
good.
just want to I want to ask you about I have a few more questions to ask you before we wrap up
Sure.
here. So we went through now we went through pretty much everything except for when you're over 50. When you're over 50, try not to be trendy, right?
Hey, it's okay. I'm over 50. And it's
You're looking
really.
fabulous.
Thank you. Well, it's the age group that I tend to work with, and I find it's really the most important age. When we start nearing our 50s, our midlife, we're done raising the kids or almost done. We have teens, and we discover that we've forgotten about ourselves, that we don't spend the time taking care of ourselves, or maybe doing, applying our makeup, or having our hair done or doing our hair as much as we used to. So when women come in, they really are. They come in and say, I have not worn makeup in years. I don't know how to wear makeup, and I'm 50 and I feel horrible. I said, don't feel bad, because we're
Mhm.
all in the same boat and we want to serve our families first. And it's okay to be here. And that's where I make this place a safe place. And I coach them in a new look. I help them develop their own style, and I provide them with very clean, safe, healthy products that actually match them. So I also
Oh, you know what? I just something came to mind when you said match.
So
when it comes to like lips, right? What should you do with your lips? Should you match your lips to your outfit, or like?
Oh boy, are we dating ourselves? So no. I really feel like here I create colors and I match people, and to the right color and the right formula, even for your lips, because we all have different habits. Not, one product is right for everybody. So I find that, like, especially now we're all wearing masks. I think lipstick is going to take a very strong comeback. I definitely will. Once the masks are gone, people are going to be like, ooh, I have lips again.
I still put it on, even though and then I'm like, oh, wait, I have to put the mask on over it.
But
and I'm like,
okay.
I like my lipstick.
I know. So I am a fan of lip conditioners, and I make one with jojoba oil and chamomile and mint, and it's just absolutely fabulous. And I make it any color. So right now the trend is a very light pink lavender. And it's so hydrating, and I really love to use a nice neutral lip liner underneath it, a nice longwear color. So when I am like outside and I don't have to wear my mask, I have some color. I throw on my lip conditioner. It gives a pretty gloss and it tastes good. And I feel great in it. And it's not overtaking any look. It's nice and sheer. It has a pretty tint. So that's right now what I think.
Kristina, one of these things that always happens is whenever I get my makeup done, people always put like lavender on my lavender eyeshadow. I don't know why, but it's always like a lavender, and then I always end up with like some kind of, I don't want to say peach, but it's more like a rosy color on my lips. I don't know why that happens, but all right,
it all looks good on you.
I'm gonna come and get I'm gonna come and get a makeover from you, because you're not that far away from me. So okay, so lips. When you said lips, because I know we have to wrap up here, but you basically said a lip tint or a lip line. What about lip liners? We should use lip liners.
Yes. Well, we're not using them the same way that our mom used to use them. It's not like the traditional way
you don't want to notice the lip liner, in other words, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think lip liners are a fabulous tool. And you can get very creative using them for your lips. And I really like using them as a base for my lip color or my lip conditioner. And I have them in nude tones, soft nude tones, warm nude tones, and then something even with a little more color and a little more wine in them. So I have some really great liners that I gently line around my lips, and then I fill it in lightly. And that's right. And I just, create a stain look.
A stain.
Yeah, a stain, a very light stain look, because I don't want a big, heavy, bulky lip. I just want something that'll enhance the line of my lips, and it would look pretty with my lip gloss over.
By the way, this is okay. So I just put lip gloss on, but I know that that's probably a real big no-no. Now,
because why not? You can, of course, you can.
Well, I mean, isn't it like too shiny on camera? I say avoid lip gloss, but you see the way that this app is, it's like you can't even tell. Like the colors are all distorted, and that's another thing just to remind people of. I'm turning that light away from you now because the lighting changed. But you have to be really careful about the light and the exact situation that you are appearing in, because boy, will it change constantly and throughout. All right. So, and talking about men here, but one thing that we didn't talk about, oh boy, in wrapping this up, before we wrap up,
eyebrows.
The eyebrows. Okay, eyebrows are so important, right?
Super important. Absolutely.
So what happens to our eyebrows when we get older? Maybe we've overplucked them throughout our lives, and so what can you do? Like, eyebrows are pretty important to your face.
Oh, they're critical for your face because they actually give a frame to your face and your eyes, and they create a look. And they really, I mean, if you have great eyebrows, even if you don't have great eyebrows, it's not hard to recreate great eyebrows with just a few tips here. And I'm just going to show you.
I don't do anything to my eyebrows. I don't even tweeze them because I over tweezed them when I was younger. I was like, remember Brooke Shields? Like,
Yep.
I had those like really like full bushy eyebrows, and then I tweezed them so much, and now it's like I don't even have to do anything to them because this is the way they're going to be.
Well, you still have very nice eyebrows. What
I tweezed the, you know what out of them when I was a kid.
My favorite tools for eyebrows is just a nice natural looking pencil. Now, the pencils that I tend to go for are a little more drier. They're not really heavy and they're not super waxy. And they just create a very nice fine hair look. So when I go into my eyebrows and I just, stroke a few times, it actually gives a really nice natural hair look. And as we age, our hormones, they're changing too. We tend to lose a lot of hair in our eyebrows. And then like a product like this is an eyebrow mousse.
Okay.
I think every woman definitely, if you're on video, you need eyebrow mousse. And then you just go in here and you brush up and it tints your eyebrows.
I love that.
It covers grays.
And can I tell you like a secret?
Like them, you can shape your eyebrows and you can make them look super natural. I am not a fan of the big, heavy, blocky brows that were a trend that everybody was doing. I just, So
what is that called again? That thing that you just did? It's called
this is eyebrow mousse. Eyebrow mousses are very popular. I carry this one in my shop. It's Blink. I think it's a fantastic product. Beauty Counter carries eyebrow mousses. They're becoming more popular.
Oh, cool. Okay, eyebrow. Okay, and that's one thing that we have to keep in mind. Men, listen, when men go on, you got to look at your eyebrows. You got to groom those eyebrows. You got to cut those stray hairs because, I mean, how many times have we seen people like men in person? It's like, who, like Albert Einstein eyebrows or something. Not like I love Albert Einstein, but
Yes, it's really important to groom you. Even if it with the men's grooming routine that I have for when I work with a male client is I always comb and groom their brows. And I would use a clear eyebrow mousse. I can use a comb with a little hairspray or hair gel to mat it down. I can trim those little crazy hairs shooting off.
What should we do like at home if we have like a rogue eyebrow? Should we just like brush our eyebrows up and then like trim them? Should we ever give ourselves a haircut or should we leave that to the professionals?
I think you should leave cutting to the professionals. But there's nothing wrong if you have one poking out to either pull it out or give that a little trim or just take some little hair gel if you're going on camera to just mat it down, blend it in with the others, tame that baby. And
tame that baby.
Yeah,
Lori says color defines my day.
Yeah, it's kind of like you don't want a hair poking up in the back of your head when you're doing a video. You want to make sure that
I have got a lot.
Neat.
Yeah. I hear you. All right. So for men, we're going to do the clean face. We're going to do the eyebrows. Make sure your hair is neat. Okay. Blotting tissues are good. Just those like little blotting tissues you can probably get at the drugstore just to take up that excess oil if you have it. But I think let's not forget, and it's not to pick on men in particular because men and women can have this, but the rollers for, for lint and dandruff, on your shoulder.
Yep. In my kit, I have one of those, those little rollers for dander. You always go up and down your shirt, make sure your shirt isn't stained. I always encourage my clients, don't wear print, don't wear plaid, don't have anything like too distracting on, and just wear a solid pastel, something bright, or even emerald blues, and even a beautiful salmon color can look great.
I know. I love bright colors. It is St. Patty's Day. So happy St. Patty's Day.
Oh, thank you. You too.
I so want to thank you for coming here today, Kristina, and giving us all of these amazing tips because you know what? When you can show up on camera and have confidence, it makes all of the difference. Now, before we leave, I just want to make sure we know where to find you. Your website is
makeupmakeup.com.
Okay,
I
so you can.
always say you'll never forget pizza. So makeup is very appropriate. So
Okay, I like that. All right, Kristina, thank you so much
you're welcome.
for sharing your expertise. And I'm definitely going to come down there and take a trip. If you live in Connecticut, Kristina's store is in Milford. What, right on the green?
Yeah, it's right off the green. It's on Harbor Walk. That is a little sidewalk that goes down into the back commuter parking lot of the front of Frosty Twist, which is right off on Broad Street, downtown Milford on the Green. But I am by appointment only because I
Okay,
specialize in personalized attention.
I love it.
Yep, and my phone number and my email is right on my website. I would have all the products here. I could teach people how to do their makeup for Zoom or every day, and I'd love to help anybody out who needs some help.
Okay, awesome. And of course, if you go to makeupmakeup.com, there's also more amazing videos to watch that will help you in your journey on camera. Kristina, thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me, Pat. It's my pleasure. Anytime.
Oh, that is awesome. All right. Wow. Okay. So I hope you guys learned just a little bit about, well, actually a lot. But don't get too overwhelmed because I think the most important tip when you show up on camera is to have that internal confidence, right? But when it comes to the lights, camera, action, face on camera, just check your lighting before, because every time you show up, whether it's a Zoom, a Restream, a StreamYard, a Facebook Live, Instagram, or LinkedIn Live, the app is going to see your lighting differently. So you got to show up beforehand, click on that link and say, oh my gosh, what do I need to adjust now so that you can look fabulous on camera? That is another episode of Center Square. All of the content that we cover every week on Wednesdays at 12 Eastern Time is so that you can show up and own your square. If you need to own your square on video, be sure to go to ownyoursquare.com, where I have a lot of video tips and tricks and previous shows, all kinds of great info on there. Until then, everyone, I hope that you show up and shine on video.